7. Ancient Rome sex.
Come closer.
You wouldn't survive without time travel. Imagine this. You step through a glowing time portal, and suddenly, sandals are on your feet, marble beneath your toes, and Rome stretches out before you in the year 50 CE. The air smells of incense and wine. Voices echo across the forum, and you realize something fast. Love here isn't just romance, it's survival. Tonight, you're not scrolling dating apps or swiping right. You're navigating a world where the person you share your bed with could determine your political career, your social standing, even your safety. And here's the twist. You've brought your 21st century mind with you. Modern psychology, the language of consent, even a little PR strategy. But the challenge? You can't just shout, "I'm from the future." You have to adapt, observe, and play by Roman rules, while quietly bending them. Welcome to ancient Rome. Let's see if you can survive love, lust, and power in the empire that ruled the world. 1. Love, lust, and power. The Roman social minefield. You step into your first Roman dinner party. The triclinium glows with lamplight. Senators recline on couches, and slaves rush between tables with trays of wine. You're smiling, trying to blend in, when the man beside you casually brags about his relationship with a household slave. At first, you think, wait, isn't this progressive? But as the conversation unfolds, the truth cuts deeper. In Rome, intimacy isn't about affection, it's about hierarchy. The senator isn't admired for love, he's respected for dominance. To him, the partner's feelings don't even count. This is the Roman minefield. Every relationship is a political move. Who you love, who you touch, even who you sit beside at a feast signals your place in society. And unlike your world, one wrong choice here could stain your reputation forever. The lesson? Before you act, you observe. As a time traveler, you can't storm in with talk of consent or mutual respect. That would sound insane. Instead, you learn patience, reading the room, understanding the rules, and waiting for the moment to quietly introduce new ideas. Because if Rome teaches you anything, it's this. Power always hides behind pleasure. And nowhere is that more visible than in Pompeii, where graffiti and brothels reveal what Romans really thought about love. 2. The Pompeii reality check. Your time portal drops you onto the stone streets of Pompeii, just weeks before Mount Vesuvius will turn this city to ash. The air is hot, the alleys crowded, and the walls are covered in graffiti. At first, you laugh. Some of the carvings look like crude jokes. Marcus loves Spendusa. Others are shockingly graphic. But then it dawns on you. This isn't just vandalism. This is the voice of people history rarely records. These scratches in the stone are love notes, jealous insults, even cries for recognition. They're proof that beneath Rome's rigid hierarchy, ordinary men and women carved out their own way of expressing desire. Step inside a Pompeii brothel, and you'll see frescoes of every imaginable act. But if you look closer, you'll notice something else: survival strategies. Some women built coded networks of trust, sharing clients and warning each other about danger. A few even managed to save enough coin to buy their freedom. Tiny sparks of agency in a system stacked against them. The lesson? Even in the tightest cages, people find cracks of resistance. And as a modern traveler, you begin to realize survival in Rome isn't just about obeying rules. It's about reading between the lines. Which brings us to your greatest advantage here, the psychology you carry from the 21st century. 3. Your secret weapon, modern psychology. Now imagine stepping into a Roman bathhouse. Steam fills the air, senators and merchants recline side by side, gossip and power plays, mixing with the scent of olive oil. To the average Roman, this is just daily life. But to you, a visitor armed with modern psychology, it's a masterclass in human behavior. You notice how status is reinforced through dominance. A senator brags about his conquests, never realizing his need for validation is written all over his body language. You recognize it instantly. Classic insecurity masked by arrogance. In today's world, we'd call it overcompensation. Take Emperor Nero, for example. Romans saw him as unpredictable, even dangerous. But through your modern lens, you see something deeper. Traits of narcissistic personality disorder. Imagine if someone had the tools to frame his impulses, to guide him toward healthier relationships. Perhaps some of his most destructive choices could have been softened, if not prevented. The lesson is simple. Perspective changes everything. Romans lacked the language we have today. Words like consent, emotional intelligence, or trauma. But if you reframe these modern ideas into concepts they respect, like honor or wisdom in partnership, you carry the power to shift not just individuals, but society itself. And few Romans understood how to bend society's rules better than the women who lived inside them. Which brings us to your next encounter. Those who rewrote the script from within. The women who broke the system. Picture yourself in the candlelit study of Clodia Metelli, an aristocratic woman whose name still echoes in Roman poetry. Scrolls are scattered on her marble table, while whispers of scandal swirl outside her villa walls. To most Romans, she was dangerous. To you, she is brilliant. Clodia knew how to work within impossible rules. She hosted salons where poets, politicians, and philosophers mingled. She built networks of allies through patronage, and she leveraged appearances to her advantage. In a society obsessed with reputation, she mastered the art of plausible deniability. Your modern eye sees the strategy. This is social influence, branding, and networking, centuries before LinkedIn. Her methods remind you that even in oppressive systems, creativity finds loopholes. The lesson here: power doesn't always come from breaking the rules. It often comes from bending them with precision. And just as Clodia rewrote the rules of society, religion itself offered a stage where you could plant entirely new ideas. 5. The religious revolution. You could start now. You step into a temple of Venus. Incense smoke curls upward, worshippers leave symbolic offerings, and priests chant words that blend devotion with desire. At first, it feels foreign, even shocking, but your modern perspective reveals something deeper. These rituals aren't just about fertility. They're about connection, belonging, and meaning. You imagine introducing meditation as honoring the gods in silence. You reframe emotional intimacy as sacred partnership. Suddenly, what sounds modern becomes timeless. In quiet underground gatherings of early Christians, you see another opportunity. Their focus on spiritual love aligns with your values, but history will later twist it into repression. What if you could gently guide them toward balance, teaching that the body is not an enemy, but a sacred ally? The lesson: even in faith, language shapes destiny. By shifting how Romans talked about love and divinity, you could help them build healthier spiritual communities. And nowhere were love, scandal, and politics more entangled than in the Senate. 6. Your political strategy guide. The Senate chamber is alive with whispers. Togas rustle, accusations fly, and reputations hang by a thread. Here, sexuality is as much a weapon as a sword. One scandal can destroy a career overnight, but you have something Romans never had: the playbook of modern public relations. Instead of denial or brutal retaliation, you imagine advising a senator to show humility, to redirect the narrative toward service and growth. What sounds ordinary today would have been revolutionary then. You'd also introduce soft power, funding poets, philosophers, and artists who spread new values subtly. Romans understood patronage, but not its full potential for reshaping culture. With the right stories, you could spark gradual change that swords and armies never could. The lesson: politics isn't just about dominance. It's about perception. And in Rome, perception was everything. But your most radical idea isn't in politics. It's in the home itself. 7. The innovation that changes everything. Imagine a young Roman couple in their garden at dusk, children playing in the background. Their marriage was arranged for property, not passion. But what if you taught them that partnership could be more than a contract? That respect, trust, and affection could strengthen alliances better than fear? This is the concept of companionate marriage, centuries before the term would exist. You frame it not as modern psychology, but as harmony practice, wisdom handed down from the gods. Slowly, families notice these couples thriving, raising healthier children, managing estates with less conflict, wielding influence with quiet strength. Your lesson? The most powerful revolutions don't always start in palaces or temples. Sometimes they begin at the dinner table. And as you look back on your journey, you realize your time in Rome wasn't just survival, it was transformation. Your legacy in ancient Rome. The sun is setting over the Palatine Hill. From where you stand, the golden rooftops of Rome glow against the fading sky. You've walked its villas, temples, and forums. You've seen love twisted into politics, power written on bodies, and whispers of change flickering in the shadows. But here's what matters most. You didn't just survive Rome. You left something behind. Seeds of dignity, of respect, of partnership. Maybe they'll take root. Maybe they'll wither. But for a moment, you gave Rome a glimpse of what could be. And as the time portal hums open once more, you take one last look. The city feels both ancient and alive, fragile and eternal. You step through knowing this truth. History isn't just about what happened. It's about what could have happened if someone like you had been there. If this journey through ancient Rome opened your eyes, imagine where we could travel next. Medieval castles, the courts of Renaissance Florence, the mysteries of ancient Egypt. Hit subscribe and join this community of time travelers. Because the past isn't just history, it's your stage to explore, question, and reshape. So tell me, if you could step through the portal right now, which era would you choose? Drop it in the comments. I might just take you there in our next adventure.